Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and we're here to do some reviews with the Quickness. We have quite a few albums to get through, but first let's talk about some songs and other stuff that have kind of dropped recently. The band Low has a new LP on the way in March. They have dropped a track to tease toward that titled Just Make It Stop, a really awesome, slow building and very kind of intense indie rock tune with some really awesome vocal harmonies and just a great melody, catchy mantra to it. Very emotional track. Loving it. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds have dropped another track from their forthcoming LP. This one is titled Jubilee Street. It's actually a pretty great tune, a little more lively than the previous song that they dropped. I'm loving the narrative on this song, the darkness. Push the Sky Away is certainly shaping up to be maybe a worthwhile Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds album. Ken Mode, Counterculture Complex. If you're looking for just some really intense, heavy music, then get into this new track. Get into this new track. It is so busy, so detailed, so freaking blowing my mind. Also, Fortet has a new album/compilation out right now. It's a group of songs, sketches, sort of B-sides that were formulated from the late 90s to, I believe, about 2001. A lot of stuff on there that sounds like it could have been on his earlier albums, such as Rounds. Some really interesting ideas, but still for me, not really completely enthralling, but there is a stream of this LP/compilation up right now on SoundCloud. Deltron 3030, yes, famed hip-hop trio Deltron has a new album on the way titled Event 2, should be coming out this year. Dan freaking Del the Funky Homo Sapien, as well as Kid Koala, and the song that they have dropped to kind of tease toward the album titled Pay the Price is pretty decent. I think the only thing that sticks out in the track to me are really the lyrics where Del is kind of telling the story where he's in sort of this allegorical society where he's talking about just all these things that I feel like to him sort of foreshadow. It's social, it's political, and because of his rap style, it's just got a lot of personality to it. Raekwon the Chef has a new EP out called Lost Jewlry. Find a link for that in the description box. Check that out. The band Darkstar on Warp Records has a full stream of their new LP right now. Give that a listen. Also, there is a compilation of artists from my home state of Connecticut called Nutmeg State of Mine. You can listen to a lot of great artists from my area, and all the proceeds from this compilation, which I believe is just $2, go toward an American mental health nonprofit, sort of in response to the recent tragedy in a town local to me, Newtown. Shlohmo has a new track out called Later. I freaking love this track. He's got a new EP on the way as well to sort of follow this track, and it is awesome. Atmospheric, trap influenced, and a really just moving vocal sample. A lot of distortion on there. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous freaking track. I am loving watching this guy progress production-wise. I think he's just got a lot of flair, a lot of creativity, a lot of versatility, and I think he's going to kill it on this EP. Fingers crossed. Pen's in the way. Also, Factory Floor has a new track out. Post-punk, minimal wave, synth punk. It's a single coming out on DFA Records. The song is called Fall Back, and with some really weird vocals, some sequence synthesizers, and some really tight dance drum beats. It's just a fantastic track for about 8 or so minutes. It's weird, it's sort of out there, especially with all the mumbling vocals, but I love it. It just makes you want to dance. And finally, a lot of people have been asking me about the new Justin Timberlake track, Suit and Tie, featuring Jay-Z. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. Don't even want to touch it. I could barely get past the intro to this track. Horrible intro. I mean, garbagey, trashy, bad intro. All of the messily mashed on top of each other vocals, some of which might be pitch shift, I'm not sure, but they all sound like garbage. And then as the song progresses, what sample is in this track? Is that a piano kind of running up and down on the keys like blah, blah, blah? it's incessantly annoying. And Justin with his baby voice and this instrumental together, it sounds like a JCPenney commercial. I can't even stand it. And Jay-Z, especially the first few bars of the verse that he throws on there, one of his most thrown together verses I've ever heard in his entire career. I can't even believe that Justin Timberlake would even think to put out a track this mediocre. Rah, rah, Riot. Beta Love. Surprisingly sweet new LP from this band. I mean, basically all of the indie synth pop jams that you can handle. Rah Rah Riot brings their usual brand of just very tight playing, tight performance, but it does kind of sound like across the LP that they were highly influenced by like the new Passion Pit album during the writing process of this album, or at least the production / recording process. Next, the new Mystical Weapons album, self-titled. This is a project brought together by Greg, drummer from Deerhoof, and none other than Sean Lennon. It's an indulgent, strange, sort of all over the place, colorful, psychedelic rock record that's got a lot of jams on it. Drums, guitars, keyboards. It's weird and short at about 36 minutes, but far from being jaw-dropping. I would say that this is likable, but certainly kind of just for the fans. Next, Fuck It Dog, Life's a Risk. That is what the name Fidlar stands for. They've got a new self-titled LP out that some people have been raving over, shoving in my face. And yeah, you know, I gotta say, it's just alright for me. Basically, this is just like some coked up, cheap beer swilling California garage punk. And, you know, the appeal of this record does not run that deep. If you thought the band Natural Child was like a Black Lips offshoot, then Fidlar is Black Lips clones. It's like episode 2, Attack of the Clones. There's some catchy songs on here. Overall, this LP does feel like a really kind of dirty, filthy, grimy party, but for me personally, it just kind of gets really old really quick. I like the energy, but what makes this LP feel so old is that the riffs are so generic, the hooks are so bland, and all the song subjects are pretty predictable, very shallow. Just a lot of trebled guitars, a lot of reverb, a lot of group vocals, a little bit of surf rock nostalgia, mustaches, stubble, sweaty t-shirts. The new Chris Owens LP, Lysandre, which I believe in Greek means to free a boy or a man, which is a telling title for Chris Owens' first solo record, kind of bringing himself past that point in his musical career where he was working with Girls. Girls being the California band whose debut LP I absolutely loved, actually still love, still go head over heels for, but for me personally, it's just been all downhill from there. You know, Chris Owens definitely brought some great songs, had very funny, very charismatic vocals, but Chet White, who played bass in the band, also did production, did recording as well. And without White there, just Chris Owens by himself and, you know, whichever production he happens to be working with, he's just so unbearably cheesy. There are spots on this LP, especially the track New York City, that sound just like a children's song. There's not really all too much I like about it. Even the kind of ska / reggae influenced Riviera rock. There are a lot of very samey melodies on here and chord progressions, which Chris Owens has done before in Girls, you know, has written songs around similar melodies and all that, but without the diverse production that is also tasteful to kind of be underneath these songs, the magic just is not there. I do get that the album does have a progression to it. It tells a personal story of Chris's life when he was in Girls, but I'm just not really liking the music. I mean, you can surely be a fan of Chris, be a fan of this album for the very kind of intimate story it tells, but musically, sonically, it's just not for me. Free Energy, Lovesign. This is basically some really high fructose power pop that it's got a lot of slick modern production, cowbell, hand claps, vocal harmonies. The songs are okay, they're very hooky, they're very kind of catchy, but maybe a little bland at times. For me, this kind of feels like a slightly more modernized take on like new wave rock bands such as the Cars. The new FaltyDL album, Hardcourage. Hardcourage. This guy is a New York electronic music producer who, for his past few LPs, has dabbled in some of the trendier sounds in electronic music like future garage and two-step. And on this new LP, he continues down that path of diversity. It's really admirable, especially on songs here where he kind of delves into an atmospheric reinterpretation of trap music, or the opening track on here, which has kind of like some 80s chic to it, or the track Finally Some Shit, which has sort of a jazzy quality to it. However, overall on this LP, I just feel like it's lacking a bit of interesting progression when it comes to the sequencing of the electronics. And even though FaltyDL is great at just kind of emulating a number of different electronic music styles, still the sound craft is not quite there. That's consistently been an issue that I've had on his LPs. While, yeah, it's awesome to get all of this kind of genre hopping on one album, the sounds to me are just really kind of flat. They're kind of boring, sort of run-of-the-mill. And finally, Pantha du Prince, as well as the Bell Laboratory with the LP Elements of Light. Pantha du Prince, awesome micro house and tech house producer. Albums such as This Bliss, Black Noise, great releases. His songs are infamous for having great progressions, very interesting soundcraft, especially a lot of weird atmospheric metallic tones in them. So it's only fitting that he would bring on a bunch of Bell players to make a new album. And certainly all of these Bell players has brought a new dynamic of performance to Pantha du Prince's music, especially during really the first 8 minutes of this album, where you're pretty much just hearing these bells. And it's a really rich sound that this album has to it too. Very kind of dense at times with layers upon layers of bells. And this of course is infused with Pantha's usual minimal beat work. And these two elements fuse together pretty nicely. The thing is that I feel like stylistically the way Pantha kind of constructs a track, or has at least constructed these tracks, there's not really much to praise about them other than the incorporation of these bells. But still, I thought it was a likable album for Pantha du Prince. And yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about all of this new musical material. Thanks for watching. Anthony Fantano, Quickies, forever.